when you did comfortable swag, did you what was the whole inspiration by making it sort of non-R&B type of stuff and just doing being brave and just doing something different?
Yeah. Well, I grew up with a lot of influence from the 80s British bands that were
Okay.
coming out, groups like ABC, and how that music was sort of like it really echoed back the grooves that were happening in America by groups like Chic.
Mm.
And Chic was happening, and the energy, the musical selection of the drums and the orchestras and the bass line being really Bernard Edwards on the bass, just making the bass really move and be melodic. It was almost about the bass, yeah. And the guitars were also right there with the bass. So yeah, to put the kind of groove in a sense, taking it back to the disco era, post disco, really,
Yeah, yeah.
um, era of when R&B. I was born in '74, so that's to show my age there, and that and with a song like "Comfortable Swag" because it's very, very, you know, disco ball like
Yeah, yeah.
spinning and and I love people like Jamiroquai, for
Yeah,
inspiring
yeah.
that energy in me of wanting to embrace that side of myself and not be afraid to express it because
Yeah.
he'll just go to any tempo he wants and just he'll
Mm.
just make it happen and I love that.
Yeah, it was a very
And
underrated album.
but I
Yeah.
also want to give John Taylor from Duran Duran his flowers as a bass player because he's always been such an influence on me with my bass lines. And so Comfortable Swag is kind of both Bernard Edwards from Chic and also John Taylor from Duran Duran. Like it's a very, very like expressive bass part. The Comfortable Swag bass line is one of my favorite bass lines I ever wrote. I mean, as a bass player, it's just fun to play, period. But um, I will say the tempo being as fast as it was, it's it's just something I've never done before. So it's like really fun. And when we play it live, which is hardly ever, we go we go hard. We go hard with that one. It's crazy. It's fun.
Yeah, a beautiful album. Helpless Romantic. What I loved about it was the fact that we rarely got concept albums.
Thank you.
And when you then start to see the progression from, trying to, okay, can we get serious and going through that whole progression, it's like, wow. And you wonder why it's not done a lot. How did you feel about making that album?
Helpless Romantic was a beautiful time because it was the birth of my daughter and also the beginning of my marriage. So we kind
Yeah.
of just we didn't waste any time. We just kind of dove in. I was the whole reason for really falling in love is because I've been a helpless romantic all my life. And I felt like songs like Drowning on that album really also express that side of myself that I couldn't deny, which was like, man, I'm falling in love here with this woman and we're about to have this baby and this is happening. I'm not gonna turn back. Like I'm about to really, really like just let this thing swallow me up, and just become a new man. And that's what that album was me being, birthing, it was a new, the birth of my child and also just a
Mm.
new era for me as a as
Yeah.
a as an artist as well. Yeah, Helpless Romantic is a special record. Very smooth
Mm.
energy on that album. The
Yeah.
vocal production that I was on at that time was very kind of in your face, intimate, and also very just layered up. That's a layered up album, man. Helpless Romantic is
Yeah.
stacks on stacks of vocals.
Yeah. I mean, I
It really
love
did. I
Drops
mean,
of
I
Rain.
loved
Yeah.
I loved doing that with the song, particularly "Helpless Romantic." But there's also songs like "My Distraction" on there that is just really and "Make Up Love" and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
love
I
that.
mean, It's You was one of my favorite on the album.
It's You. Oh wow, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's You. Jay Bynum on the production on that. That was fun to make that song, and it's also kind of got a little bit of a I want to say the weekend hadn't really popped yet as an artist.
No.
So but he was in sort of like the midst of what was happening, and that was very parallel. It's like interesting when you fly very parallel to someone else, and you can kind of see him in the atmosphere because they're flying the same way, And so that was one of those energies where I felt like I was aligned with the Weeknd for some reason on that song, and I was kind of preempting where I feel like he was gonna go. It wasn't even that he was making that type of music at the time. I just felt
Mm,
like Michael Jackson has always been a huge influence,
mm,
and if we're talking about It's You, I was very much in sort of a Mike bag on that record,
wow.
like thinking in those terms of the my vocal energy and also
Mm,
just melodically kind of like, yeah,
yeah.
that's the influence. But
Yeah.
yeah, but the anything that's Mike is kind of the Weekend, isn't it? Because he's got such a direct influence on the Weekend. So when you hear that song, that's why I always wanted to collaborate with him too, as well. He's he's one of my favorites, just because it's not so much about being super elaborate with the melodies, although he can deliver any melody. But I think that it's just the way that he sings it and the way that he delivers it, and also the full package, the tracks that he selects and stuff like that. That's why I'm a fan of what he does.
Yeah.
He's keeping it interesting for R&B.
And that for a long time is what you were doing. I mean, even as I mentioned,
Thank you so
Helpless,
much.
yeah,
Yeah,
Helpless Romantic,
it's
beautiful track. Drops of Rain, was
yeah.
another
Drops of
beautiful.
Rain. That's a wonderful record too, as well. Like Drops of Rain is it's it's funny because I love SWV too, and Brian Morgan,
Yeah.
he just is he's an influence on me. That style of production. Um, but I want to say that Drops of Rain and you know that whole style of music right there is kind of taking it back to the cool, relaxed energy.
Mm,
It's because that's what I was listening to was SWV during that time. So when you hear songs like "What You Say, Boo," um, I do or whatever back then, that's all directly influenced by like SWV, Tony, like all that music I was listening to at the time. So yeah, Drops of Rain is kind of like a more mature, but
mm,
taking it back to those energies.
yeah.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for being a part of Halftime Chat. Please remember to subscribe, share, and comment. But most importantly, why don't you become a member of Halftime Chat? We've got amazing videos, amazing perks, and being able to support the channel. But anyway, thanks for watching. Take care.
I never participated in that kind of.
And somewhere in between
us or even loving us, on which I didn't miss you with.
What was it like growing up?
She's still making an impact on 4 houses down.
I have a couple of pieces.
trying to get this one and that one.
That works for you, but just for me,
No. Okay.
They understand those boys winning all spirits.
Play it.
And all these guys, they all work together.
I mean, I love all different genres.